Fun fact of the day. My very first job was babysitting. I was like 12 or 13. I think you have to be 13 to go get to do the babysitting course to get your little certificate. And I think I did it like 3 times. Yeah, that was very short-lived. Anyways, have you ever had a terrible babysitter experience? Or maybe you were the babysitter and that was a horrible experience? Let me know, because we are checking out some of the worst babysitters ever. I made the mistake of hiring a 13-year-old to watch my son when he was around 3. She babysat for my neighbor all the time. I thought she was competent. We were at a cedar when she called to complain that he wouldn't stop crying and she didn't know what to do. When we finally got home, we found some videos had gone missing. What? We checked the browser history and found she'd been online pretty much the entire time, and she was into some really weird kinky what? Like Japanese anime videos, we'll say. I'm gonna mouth it, you guys. WTF. Oh, and she walked out of the apartment with one of our phones and we had to call her mother to get it back. There's a lot to unpack here. 13? And she's looking up that type of move? Oh my God. Stole some of your videos, used your internet to look up those videos and didn't watch your kid clearly because they're watching something else, and then took one of your phones. A last-minute trip forced a mother to leave her children with a new babysitter. When she returned home, she found her toddler and his baby sister's faces coated in permanent black marker. The sitter had instructed her son to color while she was making a call to her boyfriend. Permanent marker. Oh, well, you know what? Better on your kid's face than like the walls. I don't know. That's how I see it. I'd rather my kid go to like daycare with marker on their face than it be on like my white couch or my wall or something like that. I don't know. I feel like kids having marker on them is so like understandable to everyone else. You know, it's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, they got into the permanent markers. It's like when like kids cut their own hair, you know? One of my nephews did that. He cut a chunk of his sister's hair off, my little niece, and he like went into my sister, which is their mom, my sister, and was like, Mom, look, I gave us haircuts. And he was like so proud, and she was like, and he used like the little kid like safe scissors, and it was a hack job. Just chunks were missing, like just one chunk on each of their heads. Yeah, good times. When I came home, my kid was in his bed and not asleep. I didn't think twice about it until after I paid Sophie and she left. I'm assuming Sophie was the babysitter. Then he came out to tell me that Sophie had made him go to bed as soon as I left. The rest of the time was her telling him not to come out of his bedroom, that he was driving me crazy while she was texting on the sofa. She even warned him that she would call her, that voice crack. I'm having a really bad voice day today. She even warned him that she would call her mother over. Next thing my son knew, there was a knock at the door. It was my friend Kate, Sophie's mom. Kate came in and sat with my kid until he pretended to fall asleep. I was absolutely furious to hear this. Not only had I said the going to sleep thing wasn't an issue, Sophie didn't entertain him or even look at him in any way, look after him in any way. She sent him straight to bed and I paid her $50. And she called her mother over to sit with him until he fake fell asleep. So really, she did absolutely nothing and she owes you $50. You should get a refund, an IOU, you should get your money back. Simple as that. Finding a good babysitter must be really hard for parents, especially in this day and age, because I don't trust anybody. I don't trust I watch way too true crime, I watch way too much true crime to ever hire someone and welcome them into my home when I'm not there to watch my children. Like that, the whole idea of a babysitter freaks me out right now because of the world we live in, which is really sad. And that was very dark, but that's the reality we live in. I'll babysit your kids. I'm trustworthy. I have my ECE. Maybe I'll work with kids again one day. Maybe not. I'm just kidding. I loved working with kids. I love kids. I really do. I just make love jokes. Eggs have been ruined forever for one man. What a sentence. After refusing to eat an egg sandwich, a babysitter forced the man, who was a boy at the time, to stand in a corner until he ate the sandwich. He was there for hours. Meanwhile, the sandwich got more rubbery and disgusting. Eventually, so he could leave the corner, he gagged the sandwich down. He won't touch eggs now. Ew. Rubbery egg salad sandwich. Like, bleh. I love egg salad sandwich, but you know, you can't have that sitting there for a long time. Gets a little chewy, gets a little soggy. That's disgusting. Yeah, I'll never forget when I worked at a daycare, there was a kid who like feared cucumbers, like would not eat cucumbers. But sometimes that would be the vegetable slice of the day at lunch or something. And so his mom was like, he's just putting up a fuss, like that he doesn't like, he eats cucumbers at home. Make him eat the cucumbers. She's like, literally, like just tell him to sit at the table till he eats the cucumbers. So we tried that as teachers, me and my teaching partner. I'm like, no, mom said you gotta eat your cucumbers. You eat them at home, whatever. He literally would like take a bite and like gag. And I was like, I don't know. He seems to really not like cucumbers. And then literally he makes it through heartily of eating these few cucumber slices and projectile vomits everywhere. And I was like, that's the last time this kid eats cucumbers. Like, no. Like that poor kid probably went through torture in his head. So I'm like, Mom, are you sure he eats cucumbers at home? Because like that would be a big act for him to play up. Like we were in preschool, like for him to really go as far as puking to say, just because he didn't want to eat the vegetables, you know, like I'll never forget that. To this day, I'm always like, I wonder how, if he's ever had a cucumber after that moment. Mom said he did. I don't know. I found out that my babysitter watched the entire Homeland series when she was supposed to be watching my kid. Yeah, I feel like that happens a lot with babysitters. I feel like they like sit the kid on a couch, put on a movie, and call it a day. Or they're like, here's an iPad. What's your favorite show? And then they can just sit there and watch their own stuff. I ran out to the grocery store, and when I came back, the sitter was chatting on the phone downstairs while my daughter cried in her crib upstairs. I asked her what was going on, and she said, I thought she'd go back to sleep, but clearly she's not. Have a good weekend, and she left. This is really making me not ever wanting to have like a babysitter situation in my life. Like, I don't want kids, but God forbid. God forbid I had them. Like that sounds terrible, but I don't want them. But if I did have them, I would not want to hire a babysitter ever. No, this sounds like a terrible idea. Like you would have to pick like a family friend, like someone you very much know very closely, but everyone's so busy. When I was getting my daughter ready for her monthly pediatrician appointment, the sitter looked at me and said, I would never get my child vaccinated. Well, it's a good thing that my child is not yours. And it's a good thing that this is my child and I'm making my own decision for my child. Good for you. Congratulations. You would not get your child vaccinated. Okay. Like, it's so weird to me that people can't have opinions and just do what they feel is best for themselves, for their family. Like, why it gotta be an argument? Good for you. I'm choosing to do so. Like, either way, even if it was a roles reversed, you know? Like, that's not my business. My babysitter told the kids about the miscarriage she had. TMI. Ooh. Well, how old are your kids? I don't know if kids want to hear that or need to hear that, but I am curious as to how that happened, how old the kids are, how did that come up? Like, I'm very curious about the situation, but that would be mortifying, yes, for a kid to hear. Yeah, because I'm trying to think, like, if you're a kid, having that explained to you would be so, like, shocking and terrifying and mind-boggling. That's really sad, though, for her. Like, I don't wish that upon you, but how did that come up? My sitter put my daughter to bed without closing the blinds. When the sun rose first thing in the morning, guess what happened? Ooh, your daughter woke up bright and early. So then you had to wake up bright and early. Maybe that was an innocent mistake. I mean, you're saying it's your sitter, so I don't know. Maybe like you've had them for a while, but I feel like that could be an honest mistake. They just so happened to forget to close the blinds that day, or they just didn't care enough and they're like, well, not my kid. I don't have to wake up early in the morning. We'll never know. I need a sip. Oh, that's good. My babysitter, who's been with me for over 9 months and has showed up at the same time every day, showed up over 2 hours late and said, I wasn't sure what time I was supposed to come in. What? Yeah, that sounds like a very poor excuse. Like they're just trying to find an excuse to like blame it on like, oh, miscommunication. And it's like, no, I don't think so. The sound of construction, even though construction has ended in my building. But tell me why I'm hearing construction right now. Because this building hates me. They have a thing against YouTubers, apparently. Normally I cheers you water. I am cheersing you coffee today because it's a busy day. Cheers, Darina. Maybe you're having a coffee too. Let's all just cheers my editor today. Everyone, raise your glass. No, that'd be fun to do shots, not coffee. When I was younger, I babysat my neighbor. I just laid on the floor with horrible cramps the whole time while the kids played in the other room. The mom finally came upstairs and told me I could go home. So you were just pointless. That's what you were saying. You being hired to babysit was completely useless as you just laid on the ground. No, I get cramps. I get horrible period cramps, okay? I have PCOS and IBS. You can imagine what my insides go through, okay? It's not fun. However, you gotta go to work sometimes, feeling that way, and you gotta get through the day. Honestly, you would have just been better off talking to them and saying like, hey, I'm just really not feeling well and I need to go home. Don't just lay there while the kids are unsupervised. My daughter was going through a major separation anxiety phase, and whenever she saw me, she'd cry. Oh, since I work from home sometimes, she caught a glimpse of me and lost it, tugging at my feet, everything. So I picked her up and comforted her. The sitter snapped. You better stop coddling her or you're gonna create a real problem. Like even if you're right, let's say the sitter is absolutely right, let's just say, I don't think you can comment on someone else's parenting. Like I just don't know if that's ever a good idea. Especially like when you're the sitter, I don't know if I'd say it like that. Like maybe I would say, oh, like I'll take her, you know, like maybe try to help out so that it isn't a coddling situation, but like to say it like that and to like almost attack the mother for her way of parenting, I don't know. I feel like that's just never a good idea. Like offering advice is one thing or trying to resolve and help the situation. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of moms would not like that. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Make sure you tell me your babysitter horror stories, whether you were the babysitter or you were the parent or the child. If you had a really bad babysitter, let me know. I'm out of here. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. And trust no one. That's what we've learned today.